Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Thursday. Happy Throwback Thursday. Perhaps it is Friday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Prayerfully, everyone has enjoyed this day and looking forward to another one. I was on earlier. I did a pre-record, but this is actually live. The internet, or the internet as we know, is undefeated, and there are many people speaking about this story here in reference to Bishop Marvin Sapp. So I would like to greet those that may come in and those who may catch the replay. It is Thursday night and there are many people on. Again, this is a hot subject that a lot of people are talking about, and actually, I am going to drop this link in the event. Anyone would like to add to this conversation as to how you feel about it? So, backstory is back in 2024, and I said this earlier, some of us, some of us really need to be careful because I'm telling you, the internet is undefeated, and what you think will not come back up at the most inopportune time actually will. And unfortunately, for Bishop Marvin Sapp, it has come back to bite him on the backside. Now, according to stories, and again, I want to give a big shout out to the introvert rock star, because this is where I found the story. Again, the introvert rock star who broke it down in less than 10 minutes, but he laid it on the table just the way it was. No cut cards or anything of that nature. Hey there, Mind Channel, how are you? Blessings. I didn't see you. Hold on. Thank you, Member Boss Jobs and the Beautiful Mind Channel. How are you? Hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. You all are so sweet. And again, thank you so much. Hope you all are doing well. I believe it's probably Friday where you are, so, or almost. So enjoy your brand new day. But as I was saying, I am doing well. Thank you for asking. And I pray that you are too. Your big day is coming up, Mind Channel. Your birthday. And it's the 30th, if I'm not mistaken. My memory is still pretty good, but I will check. But thank you. And thank you as well, Boss Jobs. So, Bishop Marvin Sapp was seen in a video, and actually, you can go to that broadcast. It was, I want to say, maybe June or the summertime last year when he was a speaker at the PAW Incorporated conference in Baltimore, Maryland. Because I'm in the DMV, of course, you know I had to do some checking. Oh, don't be nervous. Look forward to it. It's going to be a beautiful day. a beautiful day. So, a early happy birthday to you, mine, and I will be back on the 30th, God willing, to wish you a happy birthday in person. So, Marvin Sapp was heard on video requesting $20 donations. I don't know who's worse at this time, him or Umar Johnson. And for the leaders of the church, he was requesting $100. $100. Now, some of you may say that that's not much. Well, you may not understand the positions certain people may be in. Some people may have just experienced a catastrophic, life changing event where they may not be able to give $20. I spoke, and every Sunday, myself and Dr. Newsom, we have a broadcast, and I'm extremely transparent. And there have been times uh, earlier this week, people go through things where what some amounts may not be anything to some, to other people, it could be their very last. So, for him, in my opinion, to actually say, well, saints, $20 isn't a lot. That's easy. I think that was very presumptuous of him and inappropriate for a man of a cloth. Not only that, to me, again, this is my opinion, his entire attitude, his aura that he gave off wasn't one that was welcoming. But what he's truly under fire for is statements that, and I don't know if it's something that the media has made up, but because he asked the ushers, according to reports, a couple of times to lock the doors and went on with this $20 challenge. There are some people on this app that actually have $20 shot shows. So when I'm listening to the story, again, this dates back to 2024 of a $20 challenge and stating that they were going or they could make easily, easily $40,000 that particular night. And again, this was a conference in Baltimore, Maryland. It was just bizarre. Again, introvert rock star is where I found the video, but if you Google it, you can find a wealth of information on it and several comments. I am not at home, so I can't pull it up, but he released a statement because of the backlash. Now, keep in mind, this video, when it surfaced or resurfaced, if you will, went viral. And there were a lot of people upset because, again, the words that were used were quote unquote being held hostage. Now, I am not going to say that is the case, but I listen to some of the words, and again, I pay attention to body language. And he actually said, and this isn't speculation because, as I mentioned, I actually listened to him say when he was giving his sermon, shh, 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 shh. He put his two fingers up to his lips and again was like, shh, this is worship time, and giving is worship. Now, while I agree that giving is worship, from his perspective, perspective was giving totally financial because he said that he wanted to see the people who were giving come up and bring their gifts to the altar. He wanted to see the folds. And he also said it costs to sit up here. Well, sir, with all due respect, if that was your calling, then you're expected to sit up there. There have been a lot of people, and this conversation has been going on for years, and I'm sure it will continue as it relates to tithes and offerings. Now, in the Old Testament, and you can go back to Leviticus and Corinthians, and they speak upon that. But if you go to the New Testament, you have an argument there where, while it may not be explicitly commanded that you give financially, it is suggested. Again, it depends on your perspective, that if you decide to give, you do it generously and cheerfully. A lot of people, a lot of churches teach from the book of Malachi. There are some people who argue that as well. So tithes and offerings, that's a debate in itself. That is something that I am not going to really get into, but this particular story and his actions and a lot of comments have been the same. This is why I don't attend organized church anymore. And I've seen several of these comments. Um, some of the comments were really rough. As I said, I am not at home, so I can't get to them. But if you go to other sites and you see this posted, not this particular video, but others, you will see several comments, and a lot of them aren't really pleasant. Now, there are some that are on the fence, and others that saw nothing wrong. Now, his response, and I'm going to paraphrase, is when you're dealing with finances. Hey there, Denmax. Didn't see you. Let me make sure I get woke really quick while I go on. But blessings to you, member Denmax. How are you? Thank you for coming by. And Susanna, blessings to you. And thank you for coming by. Appreciate you. His response, as I said, to paraphrase a little bit, that when you're dealing with finances, it's a security issue, and it was a safety measure. The words security came up. Now, from my optics, and this is just me, closing a door is one thing, but if they were actually locked, that could have been a security risk for those inside the church. Because if we think back several years ago in Charleston, we had Dylan Ruth. who actually attended a Bible study. And shortly after the Bible study was over, many of those in attendance were unalived. People attend church, as the introvert rock star said, because they enjoy and some need that fellowship. Many people go to church to release and relieve their burdens and to feel, I'm going to use the word strong armed, that's not a good look. And again, it is turning people away. A lot of these churches, especially in Baltimore, where this conference was, you can find a church in Baltimore, I kid you not, actually in many places in Maryland and especially in Washington, D.C., in the lower income areas, on just about every street. You'll see a church, and then you'll see a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Chinese restaurant, a beauty shop, barber shop on every street. So it's as if there's a new church being built monthly. And that's not an embellishment. As I mentioned back in 2020, my church actually raised over 75 million during the demic to build a brand new church. When the one to me was fine. Now there were people out of work. A lot of things happened during the demic, but a church was able to raise that much money to build a brand new one. And again, big shout out to the introvert rock star. He asked a question. Well, with all of the money that's being raised and donated to these churches, and again, most of us should know that church, especially these mega churches, big business, huge business, because a lot of them are nonprofit. And I actually tried to find the Form 990 for this Paul Inc. And what I found, there was nothing accounted for. And I remember a while ago when I was doing a story on Reverend Al Sharpton. Um, I could have sworn that I saw Marvin Sapp's name on one of his filings. Now, I'm going to have to go back through that particular broadcast and my file to see if I can't find that. If not, it's an easy search. I just need to get to that website. And many of us bear the same names, but if this is the same one, and it could be because there's a special relationship in that or connection, and that would be the late Aretha Franklin's funeral. So when you think about it, there are so many things that for people and companies and just money being shifted and placed here and placed there. Unless you really dig, you won't really know. And I'm almost I'm gonna have to find it when I get in because it's gonna drive me crazy if I don't. But I'm almost certain, because I pointed it out, as a matter of fact, that I saw, or I believe that I saw Marvin Sapp's name. So anyway, a lot of people are, as I said, according to the comments, upset about this. And again, his response basically was he gave a lot as well, and it was more of a security precaution and things of that nature. Again, I I disagree. And if you remember the movie that Morgan Freeman played in, Lean on Me, years ago, when they locked, again, it's a movie, but still, rock with me for a moment. When they locked the school doors to keep the riffraff out, they put the students in danger. And when the fire chief came, Crazy Joe Clark ended up in jail. Hey there, DJ Is. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday. This Paw, Paw, and that's the, I'll have to go back, but the Pentecostal something other Inc. PAW Inc. I'll find it later. Again, I'm not at home. But they're having another convention this year. But last year, 2024, I think they had a couple of them, but the one in Baltimore is where Bishop Marvin Sapp made this faux pas, if you will, and this $40,000 challenge, where he honestly expected that they would make 40,000 that night. It was a challenge. Again, 20 for the congregation and 100 for the leaders. His whole aura and demeanor to me did not give inviting vibes, and it made me raise an eyebrow. And I've mentioned this many times before, that I know for a fact that there are people out here that unfortunately run scams, and they prey on those who believe in them. Keep in mind, Bishop Marvin Sapp, even if you take Bishop off, he's a Grammy Award winner, a Stellar Award winner, a Dove Award winner. Very, very popular and very, very loved by many. But this right here rubbed many people the wrong way. And again, as I said, makes people feel that they don't want to attend church anymore, or it's all a scam. Now, I'm not going to say every church is that way, because there are churches out there that help people in need. Sometimes you don't even have to be a member of these churches, but some of them you do. And unless you are tithing regularly, or doing something. If you come to them in a time of need, you might be turned away. There are people that have thrown out the words fake prophets or pulpit pimps. Now, I am not going to put that label on Bishop Marvin Sapp, but as I said, if you go to either video, and you can do that for yourself, and I am not judging this man. I can't judge anyone, but what I am saying is I just found it unsettling. I spoke candidly about a situation, an experience that I had years ago. I was renewing my automobile insurance and had a very good conversation with the insurance agent, and she was talking about this brand new church that opened and she had been going, and she was really excited about it. And she asked me if I attended church, and I said I do, but it's a small family like church, and I was happy there. So she said, well, why don't you just come visit? She said they have this prophetess there, and she changed her life. So I said, okay, this woman seemed to be pretty nice. I'll just visit because I said that I would. Get there, and there were about maybe 15 people, and someone was speaking at first, and then this prophetess, I forget her name now, it's been so long, came up and she started speaking, and she would go to certain people, and when she touched them, a lot of them would fall, and there were people placing blankets on them. So this one lady kept circling me, and I said, oh my goodness, I do not want this woman to come close to me because I already felt a little bit uneasy. I was brand new. I just came to visit. So, as usual, she did. And she started talking. And then she pressed my head one time. It was a light tap. And then the second time, it was a little bit more pressure. So I'm standing there looking out of my peripheral, and I see these other people laying down. I said to myself, please don't tap my head again, because either I'm going to have to, as they say, if you're in Rome, do as Romans do, lay down, or I was going to go upside her head, because each time goes the pressure was a little bit more. So she did it again. And I said, you know what? I am not going to be staying in this place long. So I did as everyone else did, but because I didn't know what was happening, as Malcolm X said, I was took, I was had, I was bamboozled, led astray. I think I forgot the word hoodwink and run amok. So the lady that was walking around put the little blanket on, and I said to myself, okay, how long am I supposed to be here? Because I was starting to get a cramp in my leg. I kid you not. I kid you not. That is a true story. That is a true story, and I do not believe that. I don't even want to call it a church. I'll just say gathering place is even there any longer. But that just goes to show you that um, there are many people out here that do some unscrupulous things in the name of the Creator. And to me, it is wrong. However, it's reality. And if you do a little bit of research on Bishop Marvin Sapp, you will find that he is a co founder of a church. I want to say, I don't want to get them mixed up. I believe in Michigan, and I believe he's a senior pastor of a church in Texas. And he's a member of a Greek letter fraternity as of 2009. I want to say Kappa Alpha Psi. Those organizations make a lot of money too. I remember the days back when I was in the dorm, Carroll Hall, as a matter of fact, on the campus of the University of Maryland, College Park, where a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters were online. They were pledging for these fraternities and sororities because they wanted to be part of a brotherhood or sisterhood, and they also knew that upon graduation that a lot of them would be in the position to be hired for very lucrative careers because they were part of a brotherhood or sisterhood. Again, he's part of a Greek fraternity. And there was also a mention of him paying or having to pay $2,000 to get reordained or his license or something like that. Now, to me, and people made comments about his dress, if you will, meaning his clothing. Very expensive to even mention that he had to pay $2,000 for a license. Again, if this was your calling, respectfully, and you accepted it, then there should be no problem with paying that. That $2,000 to me should have been nothing for you. Again, in my opinion, it should not have even brought up, but you did. So again, that is going to make people wonder and question and start looking. And that's the problem that many people who find themselves under the microscope, especially something like this. And I know TD Jakes is probably somewhere wiping his head saying, "Phew, I'm glad, I'm glad that they are on somebody else right now so I can have a break." But I think this story is going to be in rotation for a bit because trust me, they're going to, because I'm going to, a minute, well, maybe not tonight, but at some point towards the weekend, I'm going to look for that Form 990. And a lot of these nonprofits, they do have to file those. There's a lot of information, a lot of interesting, as I mentioned, information in those forms. When you start to go down and examine the schedules, what I was looking at was the National Action Network, and that is Reverend Al Sharpton's nonprofit. And he has three family members that are being paid. No, I'm not saying that's illegal, but again, you'd be surprised at what you may find on these forms. Again, it's called a Form 990, and nonprofits are to file those. I would suggest for those that are interested and just for poops and giggles, if you want to look up any of these nonprofits, look at who prepares the taxes. Look at the contributions. Look at the charities that they give to. And look at the CEOs and the principals underneath of them and what they're being paid. See, that's how Reverend Al got himself into trouble. I just have a feeling that someone else is going to be digging more into his um, his spending and reporting, or shall I say, non-reporting. And that's what you have to pay attention to, what's not being reported, because if it's not being reported there, trust and believe it could be reported elsewhere. It could be reported elsewhere. Again, this is it's sad in a way and disturbing, but it's not surprising, and no one really should be anymore, because this is 2025, and with everything that came out in 2024, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, is exempt from having videos, old videos, resurface, and this is exactly what happened to Marvin Sapp. And again, the problem that many people are having is that, number one, the challenge, this $28 challenge, but number two, again, and I'm not sure if this is something that the media placed on it, because we all know, or I would think and imagine that many in the media, they purposely use certain words to sensationalize stories, but they use the word hostage, and that was, in my opinion, subsequently because the ushers were asked to allegedly lock the doors. Now, again, Bishop Marvin Sapp stated that was for security measures, because when you're having financial exchanges, if you will, in other words, worshiping, and according to him, worshiping is giving, and that particular conference, giving apparently meant financially. He felt as though it was a security risk. There have been so many memes out there. There have been people that have changed the title of his I don't know if he won a Grammy for it, but very popular song, never would have made it, to never would have paid it. So I don't know, to be quite honest, if he met that $40,000 challenge that particular night. That was the goal, to raise $40,000. Again, people believe what they believe, and that is okay. People worship the way they want to worship. That is okay. But when people are feeling uneasy or feeling like they're being manipulated or trapped or perhaps even tricked, then that's when the problem comes in. And that's not a that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. So in closing, I'm still going to, and I'm never going to stop believing in the creator or a higher power. I'm just not going to. But I will say this just adds to, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, people side eyeing churches now. People not wanting to donate, people not wanting to attend. Some people may not even want to attend online because they make it easy where you don't have to physically be in attendance anymore. They have cash apps. Some have Venmos. I don't know if they have Zelles or not. They may, but there's a there are several different ways you can give now. So I think there's probably QR codes as well. So it's not a difficult thing to do. And keep in mind, I believe that many people already know that this is big business. And speak of Dr. Newsom, we have Dr. Newsom. Hey there, how are you?
Doing good, Queen. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing great. I was closing it down because I saw 11:15 come up, but good to see you virtually and hear you. What are your thoughts on this Marvin Sapp story? It apparently occurred in Baltimore last year, 2024. Apparently, he had a $20 challenge of the congregation, and the leadership was to give $100. And I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to watch any of the videos, but
Hmm.
he's receiving a lot of backlash. So, again, good evening to you. And I
Good
said
evening.
earlier before you got on, I know that TD Jakes is someplace wiping off his head saying, "Phew, I'm glad somebody else."
Somebody else now.
Yes, leave him alone for leave him alone for a little while. But welcome. Good to hear from you.
Same here, Queen. Queen is good to hear from you. I just got done doing a live on the same subject. And
Oh
and I don't
wow.
know, I just got done doing a live, and I don't know what you you all were talking about on here, but I'm gonna tell everybody um how church etiquette worked. Now I didn't know that was in Baltimore when he did that, but then again, I'm not
Yes.
surprised with everything that going in Baltimore. But but now let me tell everybody how church etiquette works. Church etiquette is this. I understand what he did because I know from going to different churches and seeing how they raise offerings. In general, the pastor would kind of like to keep the people from wandering around too much or going up and down the aisles or whatever have you. The pastor or the person that's raising the offering would normally tell the ushers to close the doors. Now, the reason they tell the usher to close the doors is that they don't want people going in and out. If the ushers are leading the people down the aisle, they don't want people coming back up the aisle trying to get out the door because the doors are closed. So they generally do that to try to keep some type of order during the time the offering is being raised. Now, generally, when the offering is done, they say, all right, ushers, you can open back up the doors. Now, some people took it to the extreme. Well, he's holding people captive. He's doing this. And actually, he wasn't doing that. If anybody would have went to the ushers and say, I got to go to the bathroom, I take my little child to the bathroom, or I got an emergency, the ushers would have let them out. But the door, they only require the doors to be closed so it isn't all that meandering, all that walking around during the time of the offering, because that's the main time when people just walk around and they just meander around. And the doors are open, let me go out while they're taking the offering. And then it's that cross of traffic back and forth, and pastors usually control that by closing the door. So
Right,
that
and I understand that, but see, and I don't know, it's so much being said right now. Some people are saying closed, some people are saying locked. Now, closed is one thing, but if you're locking the doors, then that's something different.
well, I heard it several times. I didn't hear him say lock the door. I heard him say close the door 4 or 5 times. I never heard him say lock the door though.
Okay, okay, well, I need to check that, but yeah, a lot of people are, like I said, it's a crazy, crazy story. Hey there, twin, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
So you were saying that's general practice. So do you think then, because again, I'll have to go back and look, but is the word hostage something that the media, and this is what I was speaking about, put on it to sensationalize this, or was it inappropriate?
Well, people who don't know, that's what it would appear. That he's holding them hostage. He's saying they can't leave. He didn't never say they couldn't leave. But I've read a lot of comments and what people were saying. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Actually, none of that stuff they're saying is true. He wasn't holding anybody hostage. And like I said, generally the ushers know church etiquette. The pastor knows church etiquette. So they know how to behave in the church. A lot of comments that I heard are probably from people who don't go to church. So it looks like it's a hostage situation. Don't leave. And then some people were saying he said don't leave till he raised the $40,000. He never said that either. He said if 1,000 people in there gave $20 and 1,000 people online gave $20, that'll be $40,000. He didn't say nothing about you're not leaving here until you raise that $40,000. He did not say that. So a lot of what I saw, a lot of what I read was from people who, one, I'm sure don't go to church because they don't understand church etiquette. Me being in the church for many, many years, over 40 years, I know how church etiquette works. And the pastors do that to stop all that walking during the time the offering is being taken, because the offering is a part of the ministry as well. And with him asking for $40,000, all pastors generally give a target number that they want to get. So everything he did was not abnormal. One, you don't know the expenses he carried. You don't know what nobody knows. I don't know what he had to do. So I don't know why he chose $40,000 as his benchmark. But all pastors that's doing anniversaries, that's doing conferences, that's doing this, that's doing that, they generally all have a benchmark that they're trying to raise, a certain amount of money they're trying to raise. I mean, like I said, I don't know what it's for. I don't know what is, but everything, there's nothing he did out of order. I'd be the first to tell you, believe you me. I'd be the first to come out and tell you what he did wasn't right. That was wrong. No, I wouldn't have done that. I'd be the first one to tell you.
Well,
But
it was for a conference and for me, and I said this earlier and I stand on it. I wasn't comfortable with it because I listened to the the video where he actually was saying, and I mentioned this earlier, shh, shh, shh. And he repeated that, and he was saying, worshiping is giving, or giving is worshiping. But the question I had was, well, while I agree with that, does that mean, or did that mean from this particular 2024 conference, financial only? Because then this is where a lot of people could be split, and I think a lot of people are. He also mentioned that, come on, Saints, $20 is easy. Well, if you're going through a particular circumstance in your life, he how can you say that's easy if you don't know what someone is going through? So for me, and again, these are just my opinions, I thought that that was wrong for him to say.
Well, he actually did turn around and say, well, actually, $20 is a lot of money. He said, on $20, me and my wife, when she was alive, we went to the movies, bought popcorn, did this, did that. So $20 actually is a lot of money, but you can give it. So he did turn around and say that. He did say what you said, but then he turned around and said, well, you know what? $20 is a lot of money. And because at first he did say it wasn't much or it wasn't nothing, but then he said, you know what? $20 is a lot of money. Me and my wife, we used to both of us go to the movies, get popcorn, get this, get something to drink, get this, that. So $20 is a lot of money. So he did backtrack himself on that. But I don't, and like I said, and plus that's only a little clip of the service. I'm sure they hold them services for hours. We only saw about 7 minutes. So they hold them services for hours. So that just was one part of the service. I'm sure they had singing, preaching, some people testifying. So I'm sure that service was for hours. We only saw about 7 minutes of it, only
Oh,
during the off.
absolutely. It's online. It's on YouTube. And they had several people there. And during the breaks, they were asking for money or how you can donate and things of that nature. So, um, quickly, because I know that we've discussed this before, and I said I didn't want to get too much into it because it's a debate that I think a lot of people have had, and it's going to continue. Well, tithes and offerings. I know with the Old Testament, um, Leviticus and Corinthians, and I think that was more so like livestock and fruits and things of that nature. But then if you go into the New Testament, you have some scripture there. But as you mentioned, um, people speak of Malachi, and there's debate there. There are people that say, well, no, that's wrong. The way that some people have been taught, or how some people teach that. And there are others that stand on, well, no, the book of Malachi is what is meant for tithes and offerings. So, do you want to go back over again what your perspective is of that? Because I think a lot of that goes in there.
Yeah, sure. So actually, tithes and offerings, when people using the book of Malachi, that's not what that's talking about. People use it prevalently around the entire country, around the entire world. They use that book of Malachi, third chapter, as their backdrop. God said, "You have robbed me. Well, how have we robbed you? The whole nation have robbed me." And the question is, well, how have we robbed you, God, through tithes and offerings? And preachers use that prevalently. But the problem is that never applied to no nation on earth but the 12 tribes of Israel. Because the other 11 tribes were supposed to give a tenth of what they took in, and that was meat, that was grain, that was corn, whatever they took in. It wasn't necessarily money, but now in this, that's why the scripture says, "So there'll be meat in my storehouse." That's exactly what it meant. So there'll be meat or food in my storehouse, and that was for the Levitical tribe, for the priestly tribe. No other country around the entire world that book was written for but the 12 tribes of Israel. And the 11 tribes was supposed to give tithes and offerings to the Levitical tribe because the Levite tribe or the Levitical tribe was not supposed to work. The 11 tribes were supposed to take care of the priestly tribe, the Levitical tribe, because that tribe's job was to wait on the house of God day and night, offer incense, sacrifices, burnt offerings. All those things is what the Levitical tribe was supposed to do in the house of God day and night. That wasn't for the United States. The United States wasn't even around then. Now, so when you're looking at that particular book of the Bible, everybody uses that wrong. That was only for the 12 tribes of Israel. Some people say, well, what about Abraham giving tithes to Melchizedek? Okay, so that's one time you spotted in the Bible where tithes was given. Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek. Even when the Apostle Paul in the New Testament, they had an offering for Paul on the first day of the week. None that does not constitute tithes for the United States. That doesn't constitute tithes for anybody else around the world. Now, is it wrong to pay tithes? No. Is it wrong to give offerings? No. It's not wrong, but to use those scriptures as your backdrop is wrong because that wasn't even applying to us. That book of Malachi didn't apply to nobody in the entire world but the 12 tribes of Israel. And I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the people, the pastors and the preachers that tell people they're supposed to pay tithes and give offerings, no. That is not in the Bible where we supposed to pay tithes and give offerings. Can you do it? Yes. But to put that as a backdrop and look at the book of Malachi, this whole nation has robbed me. And because they saw the word nation and they look at United States as a nation, then the preacher said, hey, let's apply that to the United States because the Bible says nation and the United States is a nation. So now the pastors took that scripture and ran with it and say, you robbing God, you're not paying your tithes and give your offering because this whole nation had robbed me, but they never read the rest of the story to you. They never read the rest of the book to you. Everybody picks it up in that one spot and they use that to browbeat everybody. And no, you actually don't have to pay tithes and give offerings according to that scripture because it never applied to you. So that's the truth.
Well, actually, I'm glad you said that the United States is actually a corporation, but that's for a different um day
Mhm.
and time. I am not going down that rabbit hole. But I mean, am I lying?
Oh no, you're not lying. No, it's a business. This is all business. The church is
Mm.
making itself a business too.
So that being said, because again, I do I feel uneasy. Again, maybe I'm not familiar with etiquette. You said that you didn't see anything wrong? Well, if you don't see anything wrong, and that's fine, do you think it could have been done a different way so maybe others wouldn't feel a certain type of way? Or, as you mentioned, you saw nothing wrong with it.
No, I think mainly the people are hung up on the amount. $40,000. That's what people are hung up on. It isn't so much that he asked them to close the doors. They're hung up on the amount. And he want to hijack them, and he told them they can't leave till they raise $40,000. He didn't say none of that. He didn't say none of that. But people are if it was $1,000, I don't think people would have had a problem with that. 2,000, still don't think they would have had a problem. 40,000, in your mind's eye, what are you going to raise $40,000 for in the church? I mean, that would have to be the thought in people's mind. That would be the thought in my mind. And look, I'm a minister, I'm an elder, but I would want to know what would you need $40,000 for? That would, if he said 5,000, I get that. 10,000, okay, of a conference, I get that. 40,000, I would want you to explain that story to me. See, I'm not taking
Absolutely.
nobody's side. I'm not taking nobody. I just want to know the truth. Why would you need 40,000? I mean, that's a big number. So, that's a big number. forty
It is
thousand.
for one night, but again, it was a conference, but still, again, um, I just felt uneasy with the end. Again, maybe that's his style, but maybe that's a lot of people's style. But there are people that, because of this and other situations that we know of, it just it put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths where they feel as though they don't want to go to church, or they're labeling certain people as um, pimps behind the pulpit, or fake preachers slash pastors.
Yeah, yeah, and I do understand, rightly so. And I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm always honest with you, Queen. I'm honest, always honest with the audience. And actually, I'm a licensed elder in the Church of God in Christ. But I'll probably never go back into the Church of God in Christ church again because my main thing is I'm gonna tell you my perspective. I literally got tired of all the money. I've been in Church of God in Christ for about 40 years, and I just got tired of all the begging for all the money. I mean, I was in churches where they would ask for 4 or 5 offerings in one service. And I'm like, man, can y'all just stop? Can y'all? I've been in this church a long time. I said, can you just stop? And one church, another church I was in, they had taken 4 offerings and they wanted to raise 45 more dollars. And they had taken 4 offerings, and that was the fifth one. I said, how much more do you need? Look, I'm sitting in the pew, sitting in the audience, right? And I said, well, how much more do you need? They said, we need 45 more dollars. I said, here, let me give it, and we're done. Let me just give it the $45 and we're done. This is our fifth offering. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it now. I mean, I literally got tired of all those offerings. That was ridiculous on every level I could imagine. And I literally got tired of all this off. I just wanted to know how much more money do we need? Let me just pay it so we can just go on with the service. And that's what I did. I gave the $45 and I was like, that's it. Please stop. This is like ridiculous. This is 5 offerings in one service. No,
So
no.
if you felt like that and you're in the upper echelon of the church, how do you think others feel? And should are they wrong in feeling that way?
No, I understand how they feel. I agree with them 10,000% because like I said, I would question $40,000. That's a lot of money in one. Listen, that is not even one night. That's in like 10 minutes. That's that's a lot of money. Yes, I would question that. I'm not saying I don't. But what he did is not wrong. They always give a target number that they want to get. They generally tell the ushers to close the door until the offering is done because the offering is a part of ministering. But that number, even me, I'm still stuck on the number. 40,000. He didn't ask for 5,000, 10,000. He asked for $40,000. And that may, if it's a conference, that's generally for more than one night. So that may be a 2 or 3 night conference. But $40,000. Somebody, I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, somebody would have to explain that. If you're talking about me giving $20, why do we need $40,000? I still would ask that question right now. Why do we need $40,000? And you would have to tell me that before we start raising the money, though. Not when we start raising it. You're not. I'm not. I'm not. No, no, no. I've been taken advantage of enough. I'm done with that. So you got to
I
explain that to me.
That is right. But, well, okay, well, I understand that perspective. But if that is the case, why was his response? Well, that was in reference to security.
Hmm?
Because when
Tell
you're,
me that again.
his response, he mentioned it was because of security, meaning when you have that type of money or when money is being given, so to speak, that it's a security risk. So that was a reason for, um, again, I don't know if it was closing or locking. I'll have to go back. I've heard both. It could have been closing, but that was his response. So if that were the case, have you ever heard of doors being closed for security reasons?
No, they generally, and I'm gonna tell you how I like me being in coaching for 40 years. I've never heard of no. We've never did it for security reasons. We've always done it because generally people do the most of walking during the offering, and that way, because if you're coming down the aisle and then people trying to get out and go out the door, well, you got all that traffic, and they generally try to raise the offering and get it done and over with. And I'm not trying to make it seem like it's a speedy thing, but they're generally trying to raise the offering and get it done and over with so they can go on with the service. But if people are coming out and going out the door and they meandering and getting in people's way, that just hold up the lines, and they generally don't do that. But no, I've never heard of that, because if that's the case, then he shouldn't have never gave a number then. He just should have just said, "We're raising an offering. Can you give $20?" But if you're gonna give a $40,000 number, yeah, you're gonna get everybody's attention. He could have done the same thing and just say, "Listen, we want you to give your best offering. If you can give $20, that would be great. That would really help us with our goal, with what we're trying to do." He never actually had to give a number, and I think that's what got everybody in an uproar. That he
Yes.
gave a number so huge, and I'm telling you, that's a huge number. And no, I don't think it's, I'm not gonna second guess him, but we've never done it for no security reasons. Put ushers at the door because the ushers are not armed. So what security are you gonna provide? It's generally I'm not being funny, but it's generally feeble older people. They generally use as the ushers. So what are they gonna do for security reasons? Nothing. They're not gonna jump in nobody's way. They're not gonna try to stop a bullet. They're not gonna. They're generally feeble and older people. So I'm not trying. You know what I mean?
top flight security.
top, top flight. Nothing.
And and not only that, Dr. Newsom in Baltimore.
Yeah, yeah, Baltimore. Listen, I don't know why you would announce that number in Baltimore. Though I'm be honest with you, I don't know
It,
why you would announce $40,000 in Baltimore, Maryland. No, I mean I wouldn't do it in any city. Be honest with you, but Baltimore, no, he didn't even have to announce a number. He could have just said, "Okay, we're raising this offering. And if everybody can give us $20, if you can do better than $20, great. But at least if you can do $20, if you can't afford $20, do 10 or 5." Just make it simple and make it comparable that the people can understand it. But to throw that huge number out there, I'm still questioning the number, and I wasn't even there. So I'm still questioning the number. Like, dang, that's a lot of money for one night of the conference. Now I know generally them conferences go on 2 or 3 days. So to raise
yes,
40,000 in one night, that's a
absolutely.
that's
I'll
a
have
lot
to
of money.
see if it was one night or 2 nights. But the funny thing is, he is a co-founder of a church in Michigan and a senior pastor of a church in Texas. So
That's just
you
yeah.
can't tell me, or you can try to tell me, but you can't make me believe that with all of the Grammys and the Stellars and the Dove Awards and every other accolade this man, the singer, has received, I just find it bizarre. I'll just say it like that.
But I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. And yes, I think the same thing. He has a lot. He's garnered a lot of awards. I'm sure he's garnered a lot of money on his song "Never Would Have Made It" and some other song. I'm sure he made millions on those songs. So forty
And
thousand
Dr.
dollars seems like
Newsom, real quick, people are mocking that song now, saying never would have paid it.
I heard.
I almost fell out, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no. I heard. I heard him say his song lately. I never would have paid it. So my brother. I mean, I think he put his. I think he didn't know what he was doing at the time. Well, I'm sure when he did it, he felt he was doing the right thing at the time. But I think he realized the type of backlash that he's gotten now is that I mean, I can't see. I'm sorry, I can't see $40,000, and it isn't my business. But me, I would still, if somebody asking me to give, I'm gonna want to know why you want $40,000. I'm just be straight out honest with you. I'm gonna want to know why you want that much money. I am not gonna be that free-hearted giver to where you know what they want to raise $40,000. Okay, give me prelude, give me something in the beginning, tell me why you need that much money, and then maybe I can acquiesce and kind of like go down the same line with you, like, oh, okay, I see why you need it. But I mean, it it it, it just doesn't. I can't figure it out. Well, it's not my job to figure it out, but I definitely can't figure out why 40,000. And if I was him, I don't think I would have said anything and just asked the people to give $20 or But if 20 people, if 1,000 people here give 20 and 1,000 online give 20, we had the $40,000. Why do you need 40,000 though?
Well,
Just
devil's
bring it
advocate.
to the people.
Um,
He wanted to go to Africa. You said?
no, no, no. I said devil's advocate. Is it possible? And I'm not being facetious. Is it possible that that could have been um, the fee for his appearance? Because I'm sure. Well, I can't say that. I believe that that wasn't for free.
Mm, I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know. Was it at his church that he had it, or because it said
No,
in Baltimore? But
no, it was at a conference. So it was a conference um, that he attended. So again, and keep in mind, um, I was speaking about this before you came on. That this was a nonprofit, and I was trying to look at some of the paperwork, and I don't see any financials for this. It's a PAW. It's a Pentecostal something. I'll find it
Hmm. Hmm.
because I was digging into that because other people. This isn't just going to go away. So TD Jakes can kick up his crusty old feet for a little while because
A little bit. Mhm.
people are going to be digging to find out. Okay, well, this was just 2024, and
I'm
they're
gonna
going
tell.
to find out that he has two churches. This is just big
Mhm.
business, and as you said, the money probably popped out a lot, but then um, the closing of the
Mhm.
doors, all of it together, I think, um, created a frenzy, if you will, and
I'm
the
gonna tell.
media on top of it. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna tell you something interesting though. You mentioned this could be his fee, and actually, your audience may or may not know this. Our audience, I'm sorry, our audience may or may not know this, but he did a concert in Baltimore one year, and actually that was his fee, $40,000. Now, maybe it's ironic, maybe it's coincidental. I don't know, but I
Good and
know his.
darn well, Doctor Newsom. I do not believe in coincidences. So you can believe in that, but
This.
I don't.
I'm just saying when he did a concert at one of the churches in Baltimore, and actually my friend knew the promoter, and my friend told me how much he charged to come to Baltimore to do that concert. He charged $40,000. Now, I mean, to ask for 40,000, and that's what he see. You didn't know that, so you didn't know. But you mentioning that is like, okay, well, that's what he charged when he came to Baltimore. When that song first came out, Never Would Have Made It, and it was hot, and people had that as their ringtone on their phones and all that stuff, and they said that's what he charged to come do a concert. And I don't even think he was up maybe 45 minutes. I don't even know if it was a full hour, and and they said that's what he paid him, $40,000 to come and do the concert in Baltimore, and it was standing room only. But I paid the $40,000. I mean, I paid what I'm talking about. I paid the $40 for the ticket, and I had to stand the whole time. And I said, I said I would never, ever come back again. I'm not paying $40 for a ticket and I gotta stand up. And I said I would never ever come back to a concert like that again where I'm paying that kind of money and I gotta stand. And a lot of people were standing with me now. I wasn't by myself, but it was like they oversold the place. And if you didn't come early, you didn't get a seat and you had to stand there the whole time. And I was like, I would never come back again if I'm in that spot again where I gotta stand up the whole time paying $40 a ticket for a ticket, and I said, nah. But
That is funny. They get their money. I'm gonna tell you. Several years ago, Ty Tribbett performed at a mega church here in Maryland, and I went, and of course, it was watch night service, and
mhm.
I was there on time. But Dr. Newsom, that daggone collection basket went up and down the aisles. Uh, it could have been maybe 10 times, and I
Oh
kept
wow.
saying it took away from the performance.
Hmm.
So
But let me say this though, Queen. Actually, some of them artists would tell you they're not going on stage till you raise all their money, till you get all their money, and they would literally hold up that whole event until you raise their money, until you pay them. So all that ministry stuff, y'all need to throw that out the window. And I don't mean y'all, but people need to throw that ministry stuff out the window because those people are not going on stage till they get their money. It ain't nothing like, well, I'm sorry, I want to give you all I came up short. Or no, 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 no. I ain't going on that stage until you get all my money. See, so you got to throw ministry out the door. It's not ministry anymore. That thing's about money. See, and everybody not gonna say that, but me being as strong in the music business as I am, I'll tell you that it's not about ministry. A lot of them don't care nothing about no ministry. They want their money. Don't mess with their money and see what happened. You can throw Jesus in there, you can throw God in there, and they throw both of them out the door when it comes to that money. So this isn't about ministry anymore. This isn't no, okay, you know what? You did the best you could. We're gonna come and sing and we're gonna have a good time. Oh no, 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 no. And that's why you would see them doing that. Like, all right, we gotta pass the basket around because they don't have all his money. There's nothing about all this ministry and all this stuff and oh we love God. No, no, no. When it comes down to them dollars, them they are not fooling with none of y'all. They ain't no, I want my money, I don't get my money, I ain't getting on stage. You can put listen, God done left the building long time ago. Thank God left the building long time ago. Everybody think God is sitting there listening. No, God's not listening because that is a lot of the artists are just about money, you know, and a lot of them they don't want to understand. And look, a lot of them don't need no more money. They don't need any more money, but you gonna pay them though. And see, that's when you look at greed. When I can't remember in the Bible not one time where Jesus ever took an offering. I mean, I can't remember one time that Jesus ever took an offering in the Bible. I can't. And even with that spirit that Christ has, that's the same spirit I carry. Because some people would say, Dr. Newsom, well, I can't give you this. I can't. I said, don't worry about it. Give me what you can, and what you can't give me, you don't got. You can't give, but I'm still gonna do what I came to do. See, I'm not about all that money, and hey, this is what I charge. If you could pay me, do your best you can. If you can't, then we'll work it out. I'm not gonna not do what you called me there to do. I'm going to speak. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's going to happen. So whether you can do this or do that, and however God work it out, I'm there. And we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna enjoy ourselves and we're gonna praise God to the fullest, and I've done that in many places. And people realize like, nope, it don't matter. Whatever it is, he gonna do what he said he gonna do. And I am. I'm not running after no dollar and trying to run no dollar down and all that carrying on. I'm not doing all that. Let somebody else do that mess. No, no, I thank God. If you're supposed to give me $1,000 and you give me 500, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do. Still gonna happen. You're supposed to give me 2,000 and you give me 1,000, I'm still doing what I'm gonna do. It's still gonna happen. I'm not caught up in all this. Well, I ain't get my money, and that's why they would have to do 10 offerings because he said I ain't coming on until y'all get the rest of my money, and you better get it here, or you don't get it in X amount of minutes, I'm leaving. Oh yeah. See, y'all don't see that people don't see that behind the scenes stuff. I see all that.
I would have never known.
Oh yeah, all that stuff goes on. Yeah, they done threw God out the window a long time ago. Yeah, people think like, oh, they singing a song, they singing my favorite song, and this and that. They done threw God out the window a long time ago. So when we looking at this and we say, oh, they're artists and they're this. Oh my goodness. You see, well, I don't want to mention that other girl what she going through, but I'm I ain't gonna mention her what she's going through, but yeah, a lot of it's about money. I done been in this industry of many years, decades and decades, and a lot of these artists, they're about money, and you don't have their money. See if they come on that stage and perform. They don't care nothing about none of that. Jesus Christ, God, you can mention every one you want to. They ain't thinking nothing about none of them. They just want to know how many Benjamins you got on that table. And you don't got enough, then guess what? They won't be coming on that stage. So I'm just tell you that ahead of time. You don't got enough money on that table. They ain't coming on that. And they probably don't even need no more money. But if you don't have their money, they ain't coming on that table. And that's what you get. That's what you gotta. People have to realize when these artists do these different things. Listen, God done left the building a long time ago. He done left a long time ago, but it becomes about money. It's not about ministry anymore. Ministry is not a optimal word on their list. They're like, oh no. So I'm just trying to educate everybody who that and I'm telling you, you could talk to people could talk to them themselves. They'll tell you this, "Well, you know what? When I come to an event, I want my money, and if I don't get my money, I ain't coming on stage." And they'll tell you that when they give that announcement, God has already left the building because the promoters like me doing events and I try my hardest to promote, to get people out, to do this. Now we sell at the Newsom World Awards, we sell out every year, but it wasn't always like that. I had to promote, use radio, TV. I had to use everything I could use to get just to get the people out to the show. And then I had to pay this person, had to pay that person, had to fly them in, had to pay for hotels. And I'm sitting there like, why am I paying for all this? And they getting all the promotion, all the advertising, and I'm paying them. I said, well, I'm losing out on every end. So guess what? I don't do all that now. I used to, but I don't do all that now because God bless us where our show sells out every year. But imagine the stuff I had to go through in the beginning, and then the artist not willing to work with you. When the artist not willing to work with you, like, you know what, I wanted to give you X amount, but I'm short, and because I tried to get as many people out, and so no, 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 you're gonna give me all my money, you don't give me all my money, then I'm not gonna perform, I'm not gonna come on stage. So now God has given us such a great reputation around the entire world that now if we want people, we want people, they have to pay us to come on stage now. And even in that, if they say, you know what, we only could do this and we can't do that, then sure, still come on stage. Still come on stage. Because we can't let them do it for free, but we do give them opportunities to express themselves, to explore their options in a big way, to open up a worldwide stage for them. Yeah, because we still do that. It's still ministry to us. It's, if somebody want to say, if we charge $1,000 to come on the stage, and they say, well, we only got 500, we only got 700, come on stage anyway, because you're already here. You might as well. And we give them a chance to minister to a nice big audience. So it just comes with the territory, but we have to keep ministry in there. Unfortunately, a lot of these artists took ministry out a long time ago. You don't pay them their money, they don't care what you say, they ain't coming on stage until they get all their money. And unfortunately, that's the generation we're living in. And I don't have to deal with that because we don't do that no more now. So I don't have to deal with none of that.
That is a good thing. So, as we close out, because it's just about midnight, do you think this is going to fizzle down relatively quickly, or, as I mentioned earlier, people are going to, like myself, start digging and looking at everything?
Yeah, I don't see it fizzling down anytime soon because like I said, the thing on this, a lot of people don't understand church etiquette and why he did what he did. And that's something he try I read something where he tried to explain his, well, actually he didn't try to explain nothing. He was just saying, I know you don't agree with me, and I know you don't agree with this and such, but I didn't read where he actually gave a reason to why he per se did all that. Why was the $40,000? Why I didn't read that anywhere. I saw where he came online and he was saying some stuff, but I didn't see him say anything about that stuff. And I think that's going to be something in people's mind because he's ministering to the unchurched people, and when you're ministering to the unchurched people, you have to teach them. You can't. Nobody can dare think you're gonna pull wool over this generation of people's eyes. You're not gonna do that. Nobody's gonna do that. This generation, the Bible says, listen, the Bible says, but they are smarter and they're wiser. So you're not
Yeah,
gonna pull no wool over their eyes. It's not
and
gonna
you
happen.
saw and you saw that this was in 2024, but it resurfaced. So, as I said, the internet is undefeated. What is put out,
Mm-hmm.
unless you are um, part of the, you know what, mostly nothing is going to be scrubbed.
Yeah, yeah. This is not. No, I don't think it's gonna go away anytime soon. I think he might have to deal with this for a few weeks, a month or two. I think he's going to deal with this for a minute because people they're not going to get it, And I think, like you said, Bishop Jake probably kicking his feet up right now because it's not him this time, so it's somebody else. I think he's kind of kicking his feet up about. But I do want to talk about Bishop Jakes another day though, because I got some things I wanna put on the table because some things I don't see. His statements, some of his statements,
But
his
we
statements.
discussed that before. But yes, give me a buzz. Well, it's already tomorrow. Later on today, and let's chit chat and see if we can incorporate that into Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, because this is I can't hide anything. This is something because he comes out and say stuff, and I just have to come back and correct this stuff they're saying because it doesn't line up. It doesn't line up. And I only talk, and let me be clear. I only talk when I hear them talk. If I hear them say something and it doesn't sound right to me, yes, I'm going to be one of the number one people to comment on it. So ain't nobody need to say, "Oh, he talking about this." No, I'm not. I'm listening to what they're saying, and what they're saying it doesn't make sense to me. And yes, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to be the number one person to put it out there because I want to hear the truth. And what I'm not hearing is truth. So what he's saying is not lining up with what everybody else is saying, and what he's saying happened because I just heard today what he said happened to him, and what he's saying happened to him doesn't make any sense. So, and then his family don't have the same testimony he have. So something's just not gelling. So it's something is way off base here. So I just want some clarity because what he's saying is not making sense, and his family is not telling the same story he's telling. So I don't see how what he's saying is panning out properly. I'm gonna just say
And
that.
that should be a lesson for most people, and I don't think a lot of people realize it. Um, when you're being dishonest, there's no need for a long, drawn out explanation or a long, penned statement if you're being honest. And I'm just going to leave it on the table like that until we speak again, because there are a lot of people that are doing that. They're accused of something and they find a need to go on this long diatribe. If you are falsely accused of something, why is a burden on you to give this long explanation or this long novelette? You don't have to do that.
Exactly, and that's the same thing. I'm saying if you're not guilty, then why are you trying to explain yourself?
There you go.
It doesn't make sense. If you're not guilty, then why are you trying to explain and defend yourself for what reason? I'm not sure.
But see,
Because
that's how a lot of people make mistakes, and that's the telltale sign. But see, the more people talk, they tell on themselves, and they don't even realize there are people that pay attention, and then they can go back months or maybe even a year and say, "Well, wait a minute, didn't you say this then?"
exactly, and that though I wish we could talk about. I just want to get this off my chest. But anyway, this and only reason I say it because what I heard him say today, it just doesn't make any sense. I,
Well, I'll see what tomorrow looks like. If you're available, we can chit chat then.
yeah, let's do that. Let's instead of waiting till Sunday. Let's see because I got to get
I
this
can
off
hear
my
you
chest.
itching now. I'm like, okay, okay. And the only reason why, because I'm not even home. I pulled over to talk about this really quickly, and I've got to get up. But yes, I will see what time I finish up everything tomorrow, and contact you and see what time you'll be ready to roll. I think that will be a good show.
Okay, good, good, good. I just gotta I
I
gotta
can
explain.
I can feel your excitement busting through.
I gotta explain this. I gotta explain this because it's not making no sense to me, and maybe your audience can bring some clarity to it. But I'm generally a pretty good judge of character, but maybe your audience can bring some clarity because what he's saying is not making zero sense to me at all, zero. So, but we could discuss it tomorrow because this is gonna be a little hot topic here. 'Cause-
Oh, I will enjoy that. It's the end of the month as well, so I
mm.
look forward to it. But thank you so much for coming on to discuss the latest. I was saying to myself, I'm in the wrong business, but the way bones are coming out of closets, fibulous, fibulous.
Fibulas, foot bones, and all that carrying on.
I think I'm fine just the way that I am. But with
Mhm.
that, you enjoy the remainder of your night or morning, and we will chit chat tomorrow and then talk about what's burning
Yeah,
back
yeah. I'll hold it till tomorrow.
That's what tomorrow was already here, so just a few more hours.
Oh,
Just a
later
few
today
more.
then. How about that?
Yes. So again, you enjoy your night, and we'll have a special live Friday, and then we will meet together, God willing, for our Sunday late night word with Dr. Newsom.
All right, my dear queen. I'm looking forward to it.
Me as well. Again, thank you so much, and look at Warren. Oh, I called him Warren Marvin. Oh, he's he's blown up. He looks kind of. Put it back on there. He looks like a football player.
You talking about Warren Sapp?
Yeah, I was getting ready to call him that. Marvin Sapp, you need to take some Slim Fast real quick, cause you getting looking TD Jakeish. So anyway, you have a good night, and we will chat later on today.
All right, perfect, queen. I appreciate it.
All right, take care now.
All right, talk to you
All
later.
right, bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in, and to those who will catch the replay. That was Dr. Newsom, and we were discussing the media story about Marvin Sapp, Bishop Marvin Sapp. Sorry, I'm tired. Bishop Marvin Sapp, and the $20 challenge for making $40,000 in one night. Everyone, enjoy your night, your morning, your evening, depending upon where you are on the globe. And God willing, we shall see or hear from you virtually later on today. Bye bye for now.